Just by way of introduction, I just wanted to just share a little bit. I gave my life to the Lord when I was just 13 years of age, and God just came and absolutely changed my life. From the moment I went forward to give my life to Him, I was just absolutely changed. And so I've walked with the Lord for 42 years now, and God has just been so wonderful, and I'm here tonight not because of my faithfulness to Him, but because of His faithfulness to me. And for each one of us, you know, we all have a story, don't we? And I'm just glad to be able to come and to share a little bit of my life with you tonight. Mick's with me tonight. I met Mick when I was just saved a few months, and he'd just been saved in a little distance away, and we met together at a coffee bar in the 60s. There used to be coffee bars and Christian groups used to go round, and we've shared a little bit of that tonight from way back. And we just both met there, and we were just soulmates, you know. It was a married made in heaven. And we just suited each other, and I hope we still complement one another. We've been married 37 years now. And we have a daughter, Joanne, and two granddaughters, Sally and Jenna, and we have a son, Paul, as well. And so that's just a little bit of background. We've been at Wavertree Christian Fellowship for about 22 years now, and Mick is the pastor there. And we've been involved in just lots of things over the years. But I really, for tonight, I just wanted to share a little bit about something that happened to us, and it's 5 years ago now. But you know, sometimes as Christians, you know, we think we have our lives mapped out, don't we? And, you know, I thought that what we were doing 5 years ago, I thought I'll always be doing this, because I couldn't imagine my life being any different to what it was. We were busy in the church, and I was involved in the prayer group and lots of different things for Israel, and you know, my life was full, and I was enjoying everything that God brought into our lives at that time. And you know, it only takes a moment, doesn't it, for things to change. And for us 5 years ago, it was in the August, and it was the weekend of the Matthew Street Festival. I don't know whether any of you have been along to them in town, but they're on every year, where they have the Beatle music, and it's quite a good weekend, evidently. And on that weekend, we were looking after our two granddaughters. One of them was in hospital. She'd been hit by a swing. And the other one, Jenna, the older one, she was just stopping overnight with us. And so we were just looking after her. And I remember when we went shopping to Asda in Hunts Cross. And on the way home, she was concerned about her sister in hospital. And I remember the conversation, you know, saying, you don't have to worry about Sally, because God will look after her. She'll be fine. And she seemed settled with that in her heart. She seemed quite settled. And a few moments later, she said to me, you know, now, we can trust God for everything, can't we? And I thought, isn't that lovely? You know, she was 6 at the time. And you just think, what a simple faith she had. And it was just a lovely conversation with her. And it was a very precious conversation. You can trust God for everything, can't we now? Because when I arrived home and I walked into the living room, there were two strangers in our house, and I could see by Mick's face that obviously something terrible had happened. And these two people ushered my granddaughter into the kitchen, and I remember just saying to Mick, just tell me what's happened. And he said that our son, Paul, had been murdered. And I haven't come tonight to depress you, but I'm here tonight to give testimony and to tell you that all things work together for good to those who love God and who are called according to His purpose. And you think, what good can possibly come out of losing your child in such a way? Paul was only 28 and he was about to be engaged. The ring was on order and it was all arranged. And so in our minds we were planning a wedding, and now all of a sudden our whole lives were just changed in an instant. You know, nobody knows what a day brings, do we? I just went shopping as normal. It was a beautiful sunny day and we were looking forward to going to a wedding on the Saturday. And now here something happened that was just so devastating. And you just think to yourself, how do you get through these things? And you know, over the years, God had brought us through many things. You know, we had health issues. I had a lump in my breast and I got prayer and it went and God healed me. We've had financial issues where my husband had a business and one day that went as well. We had the bailiffs on our doorstep, but God brought us through. You know, and we all have things in life, don't we? We live life and things happen in life. And I knew that God was real, and I knew that he can bring us through anything and everything. But I did think at this time, God, I don't know how you're going to get us through this, but I know you will. And although our whole lives had been absolutely devastated, I knew that God hadn't changed. He was still the same. He was the one thing, the one constant in our lives that was going to affect everything else. And I can remember, looking back now, it seems odd to me, my own reaction. I can hardly believe my own reaction. But I was just absolutely calm, clear thinking. I knew what had happened. I took in the reality of what had happened. And I can remember going upstairs and just kneeling down in the bathroom and saying, Lord, they've killed my son, but I just need you to know I still love you with all of my heart. And it was one of those things that you never know how you're going to react until something happens. And for me, it was a defining moment, really, because it was like God showed me what was in my own heart. You know, and we don't always know what's in our own hearts. But when this happened, I just knew that actually everything that I've thought and believed and heard all of these 42 years, I absolutely do believe it. And for me, it was a very defining moment where I knew that I love God. Without a shadow of a doubt, I knew that I love God. And so it was a very defining moment for me. And I'm glad that God allowed me just to see my own heart at that time. The Lord's already spoken to us tonight about moving on. And I really want to share, to encourage whoever that word is for. It could be for more than one person, as we know. But you know, there's a great truth there about moving on from things, because I've spoken to many people and shared testimony in many places. And you do find that a lot of people, when something terrible happens, it is a very difficult thing to move on. But you know, God spoke to me very quickly when Paul was killed. And when I came downstairs from praying, and I remember just saying, God, I just need to hear from you. You know, it didn't matter what anybody else had to say. I just needed to know what are you saying in all of this. I said, please just speak to me. And I'm so glad, very quickly, he spoke to me two things. And the first thing he said was, will you trust me? And I thought, yes. I was only too happy to put my hand in his and to say, Lord, I will trust you with all of my heart.